Great evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you out to our BYOB Market Talks. So if you could make sure that you get an opportunity to drop your affirmations in the chat. Let us know where you're calling in from. We are absolutely excited. We've had an amazing week. Those affirmations: I am a BYOB master trader. I am the signal. All my trades end in profit. I am 777. So drop your chats. Let us know where you're calling in from. We're going to be getting started here shortly. You want to make sure you share our stream on your Facebook, your social media, because 2 billion strong, that's our rally cry. We want to make sure that you and I get the opportunity to share this information with our friends, our neighbors, as well as our relatives. Once again, I'd like to welcome you. So go ahead and drop your affirmations in the chat. Let me know where you're calling in from. I am a BYOB master trader. All my trades end in profit. I am 777. So go ahead, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be shy. Go ahead and drop your affirmations in the chat. This is our BYOB Market Talks. We're going to be getting started here in about 2 minutes. But in the meantime, we want to make sure that you're operating in the right energy, the right mindset. And you need to make your declaration in the chat. I am a BYOB master trader. All my trades end in profit. I am the signal. I'm anointed for wealth. Your affirmations, your energy that you come to this environment with is going to make sure that you're easy and ready to absorb this information. So once again, drop it in the chat. Let me know what city you're calling in from. We're absolutely excited. This has been an amazing week. Some amazing educators have been opening and sharing this information with you. So let's all be in alignment and be in agreement with our affirmations. And I know this unequivocally, ladies and gentlemen, for those who follow the instructions, who take the time to write out your personal affirmations, I know the results that you will get in your trading experience. So it is paramount, it's very important for you to make sure that you get an opportunity to engage in this process in its entirety. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we want to make sure we maximize our opportunity tonight. So I have the distinct pleasure of being able to introduce to you an individual that I have the utmost amount of respect for. I mean, this individual is 100% documented, has all the information on what it takes to execute and be successful in every aspect of your life. One of the top minds in the entire globe, loves helping people and really loves having fun. So she's a retired major from the United States Army, a licensed financial advisor, MBA recipient, and we affectionately refer to her as the trade whisperer. So without any further ado, it's my distinct pleasure to turn this call over to our coach and mentor for this evening, none other than Miss Tasha M. Dyer. Miss Dyer, are you on the line?
Absolutely, absolutely. I am here. And ladies and gentlemen, as we get started here this evening, this is Be Your Own Bank. BYOB Market Talks Tools Analysis. And let's just thank our visionary before we even dive in tonight. You were the gentleman that you just heard from, right? The gentleman that was just speaking is actually the visionary of the Be Your Own Bank movement. Now, just imagine you're here because he had a vision. You're here because he had a dream. You're here because he wanted to make sure that families around the world actually were exposed to this information that's ultimately been hidden in plain sight. And so I just want you all to know right now that I'm very grateful, as we all should be. His background is in investment banking, and he's actually a spokesperson for one of the premier tools. And you will actually be hearing and seeing that tool here in just a moment. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me officially welcome each and every last one of you all. Now, we had a very good week. Oh my gosh. We had a very, very, very good week. That is definitely something to get excited about, all right? Definitely something. And that you heard what he said. You need to share this, stream this, right? Go to your social media and make sure you share this information, because 2 million families, yes, 2 million financially educated and impacted. Also, ladies and gentlemen, you want to make sure that as you log on this evening, right, as you log on, you want to go ahead and drop it in the chat where you're calling in from, along with those affirmations. Now, I'm going to spend a little bit of time on affirmations here this evening, all right? I'm going to spend just a moment, because here we are. We've had individuals, all right? We've had individuals that have been cashing out. We have individuals that have been in profit. We've had individuals that pushed the button for the first time this week. We've had individuals that are compounding. We've had individuals that literally are making a shift and a change and a transition in their lives. And I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, that is definitely something to get excited about. It is definitely something to get excited about. So as you log on this call this evening, I definitely want to make sure that all of you all drop it in the chat where you're calling in from and those affirmations. Now, understand this movement is worldwide, and what we operate on is the right mindset. Our mindset, our success is housed right in there, because you have the power on the inside of you. If you say that I am an educated BYOB master trader anointed for wealth, then that is what you are. If you affirm it and walk in it and believe it, then that is what you are. And so we want to make sure that that is exactly where we're walking, because this is a skill set. This is a skill set that you're going to learn. This is a skill set that you're going to. I see you. Good evening. I like that. Cleveland, Ohio, the CFO of my family. I like that. Good evening. So let's go ahead and let's see, who do we have here this evening? I see Jacksonville. Good evening. Milwaukee. Good evening. Columbus, Ohio. Good evening, Cleveland. Good evening, Leland, Mississippi. Miramar, Florida. Good evening, Minnesota. Good evening, Essex, UK. Good evening. Good evening, Manchester, United Kingdom is coming in strong this evening. Good evening, Cleveland, Tennessee. Good evening, Chattanooga. You forgot to say Linda from Chattanooga. That's okay. We got you, Linda. Good evening. Good evening, Milwaukee. Good evening, Jacksonville. Howell, Michigan. Good evening, Vegas. Baltimore. Good evening. Fort Polk, Louisiana. Good evening, Cleveland. Fort Mill, South Carolina. Moultrie, Baton Rouge. Hey, Baton Rouge, right? You know, y'all got me excited because we were talking about Thanksgiving. You know, Miss Anderson had us thinking about Thanksgiving and all this food that's coming up. And yeah, so I'm going home. If y'all haven't figured out, I'm from Baton Rouge. Good evening, Fitzgerald. Good evening. All right, guys. So go ahead and continue. Good evening, Jacksonville. So go ahead and drop it as well. I am an educated BYOB master trader anointed for wealth. I am the signal. All my trades in profit. I am 777. All right, guys. Now, 777 simply means that you have actually turned the financial markets into your personal ATM. Now, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and get my screen share together. All right. As I do that, as I get my screen share, there's some things I want to share with you. Okay. Let's get this together. Now, as I do that, right, if this is your first time here on this line this evening, let me get a 111 in the chat. This is your first time. You are still learning how to cash out. Let me get a 222. If you know, we added this week. If you are compounding, let me get a 333. And if you're cashing out, let me get a 777. That doesn't change. So I added that. Look, I like the multiple numbers because you can be cashing out, getting your consistency before you start compounding. That's why they're not the same thing. And remember, we compound in, we don't compound out. Now, I'm going to just let my traders know to go ahead and watch GBP/USD. This is a training call, so I'm about to go ahead and jump over here to where I want to begin. But for those of you all, let me say welcome back. Now, let me understand. So for my new individuals, for people that are joining us for the first time, how our call schedule works, right? is Monday through Thursday at 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're live in the market. So the 5 a.m. call is geared toward our Forex pairs. That call has a slower pace, more analysis, right? Going through the charts, looking, utilizing the tools. We're doing implementation. The 9 o'clock call is geared toward our indices because that is when the Wall Street opens. So because that is when Wall Street opens. So of course, the indices move a lot faster, so that call is going to have a little faster pace to it. And then, of course, on Tuesday and Thursday nights is what we call BYOB Market Talks. Now, we have a very systematic approach to how you're going, you're learning, and it's been very effective and it works. So on Tuesday nights is when we have our BYOB basics, and that is when you're going to hear from our pimp master, Ms. Anderson, who is going to walk you through understanding what this movement is all about, as well as making sure that you dive in and you understand the foundation, the basics, understanding the BYOB cash out strategy. And then tonight we're in the market utilizing the tools. This is our advanced call. And so what we're doing is showing you how to utilize all of the tools that you actually have access to. And so in the evenings, we educate, in the mornings, we implement. And so we're walking you through. And because if you stay plugged in, then what I do know is going to transpire is in your first 14 to 21 days, you will be pushing the button. You will be able to it will begin clicking. The market will begin making sense to you. What we're looking at is going to make sense. And so this is why we have a very systematic approach to your education, to your skill set, to your learning, and to your development. So what you're seeing right now is the vibrato. Now, this is the premier tool within the Academy. When you log into the Academy, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see that you have access to multiple tools. Now, to get into the Academy, I go through im.center, but where we are right now is at imlwebanalyzer.com. Good evening, welcome. So where we are is at imlwebanalyzer.com. Now, when you log into this, okay, I want you guys to understand what you do is you analyze here, you enter the trade in your phone, okay? You analyze here on the vibrato, and you enter the trade on your phone. And so what you're seeing is our visionary. This is the gentleman that you just heard from. Now, understand his background is in investment banking. And so the tool that we're looking at, everything we do, we bring back to the vibrato. Everything we do, we bring back to the vibrato. And we do that, and you'll understand it as we go through the tools, because this tool has been vetted. It's very comparable to what the big banks of the world utilize. So this is ultimately what you have access to. And so this is why he is actually the spokesperson, and it's going to allow you to trade like the banks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just allow this to play really quickly, and then we're going to dive in, because I want you to understand the importance and the magnitude of what we have access to.
Wow, folks, I'm just absolutely amazed to know that I'm a part of an organization looking to empower and impact lives across the globe. I've been in this space for over 20 years, commercial banking, lending, and when I look at the web analyzer in comparison to what the big banks of the world utilize, that web analyzer is equivalent, far exceeds the expectation that I was anticipating after having that experience on the investment market. So folks, for those of you who don't understand the magnitude of what you have your hands on, I encourage you, I challenge you to take a deeper dive and realize that literally you have in your own hands the power to become your own bank and allow us to be your partner, to empower you economically, financially, and leave a true legacy.
So wow, ladies and gentlemen, you understand the magnitude, the power of what we're sharing with you. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive in, and I'm going to walk you through a few things. And then we're going to look at another tool tonight. Isn't that exciting? That's exciting, right? Very, very exciting. And I love it because we actually have a live trade to look at. Let's see, did we get any triggers? Now, understand the BYOB cash out strategy is a strategy that I created. It's actually housed on the inside of the vibrato. All right. And so when we begin to come in here and we begin to look at a trade, okay, what you're seeing is across the top, we have our times. Now, these times simply represent how long it takes before I get the next candle. Now, on Tuesday night, Ms. Anderson will go in quite a bit of detail in explaining all of these things with you. Now, along the side is where our price is, okay? Now, notice that we have two prices, okay? My two prices, let me add something on here real quick because it's not on there. Give me one moment to do so. Turn it on. Save. Here we go. And we're gonna pull it back up. We're going to pull it back up. GBP USD is what we were looking at. Now, here we go. Let me get all of my things clicked back, my time frames clicked back on here. Now, here we go. Right here, this is where we were. Now, the reason I wanted to see that, all right, now you guys know that I pretty much don't use it, but right here, along the side, we have our price, okay? This is the real price. What we're looking at is GBP USD. So our currencies are GBP USD. And as I go through this, if you have any questions, comments, testimonies, I want you to drop it in the chat. We'll get your questions answered, okay? Questions, comments, testimonies, drop it in the chat, okay? Now, so we know we're looking at GBP USD. This is the price. Now, what you're seeing here is two prices. So one is a Hikinashi price, which is a trend price, and the other one is the real price, and which is why I ultimately wanted you to look at this. So this is what it takes. This is how many US dollars it takes to purchase a GBP, a British pound, okay? That's the actual price. So if you were to Google that right now, if you were to go look that up, you wanted to see what the currency exchange rate is, that is what you're going to see. So we're looking at the exact same market, okay? Now, why is this important? Why do I want to know the real price? Well, we're going to analyze, and what I want you guys to be able to understand is that these time frames, they're just showing the market from a different perspective, a different viewpoint. If you can imagine that if I'm in your neighborhood, or if I'm actually in your driveway, I'm going to see you a lot clearer than I do from an airplane. And so, but it doesn't change your geographical location. So that's really what these time frames represent. So each time frames gives me a different view that I'm seeing the market from. All right. So that's what these represent. Now, so what that means is my price is not going to change based on the time frame that you're on. What happens is you're now looking at the market from a different point. So what do my time frames mean? All right. What do they mean? My higher time frame give my market direction. My mid time frame is where I analyze, because now I'm having more, I have a little bit more authority, a little bit more activity. When I say authority, I was about to tell my story about the kids, but I'll get there in a minute, right? So this is that head of household. This is the mom, this is the dad, right? These are the teenagers. These are the little people. So now my little people, right? My children, my lower time frames is actually how we enter the market. That's where we have a lot of activity, because it's a lower time frame, so we get more candles. So if you really think away the way a house operates, you have my higher time frames, right? The parents are normally calm and collected. They're normally the ones that, I don't mean your house specifically, but they're the ones that's typically more laid back, calm and collected, might sit down, watch TV, but they're still the decision makers, okay? That doesn't change the decision makers because they're not running through the house in circles. So what happens is the ones that's making a lot of noise, they have no authority. And that's what I want you to realize as we're looking at this market. They actually have no authority. So now, as we understand what these time frames mean, what you're seeing, I should be getting some 777 here in a minute. Now, this is why we start on the 15-minute chart, okay? This is why we begin here. This is why we start here. So on my 15-minute chart is where we analyze. Now, I'm going to put an arrow here for the sake of training, okay? I'm going to put an arrow here for the sake of training and for the reality of you guys staying with me, all right? I wanted to keep your eyes focused. That's the only reason why I'm using an arrow. Now, because we're too close to live trading and too close to live market for me to do anything else, okay? Now, I would not have an arrow while I'm trading. But what I want you to know is that I have 3 indicators, all right? I have 3 indicators. Now, what my 3 indicators are is my stochastic, my Hikinashi candles, and my PSAR, all right? My stochastic, which is a momentum indicator. My Hikinashi candles, which is a trend. They basically interpret the Japanese candles for you. They translate. So if I was to be looking at Japanese candles, these are traditional candles. These are what you see. We would be having a class on how to read the candles, the different types of candles that they are, whether you're looking for a doji, a harami, you know, what type of candle, and engulfing. What type of candle are you looking for? Well, all right. What ultimately happens is when I bring this back to my Hikinashi candles, okay, these are trend candles. Don't they look a lot smoother? Don't they look a lot smoother, right? They look a lot smoother, right? So they are pretty much, they're giving you the ultimate, the overall trend of the market. So yes, no, maybe so. Yes, no, maybe so. You could type it in the chat. We had a very powerful week. Y'all should be like so excited tonight. So excited. There we go. My chat has a little delay, but that's okay. Now, so what I'm looking for, okay? So this is my momentum indicator. All right, this is my momentum indicator. These are my Hikinashi candles, and this is my PSAR. So my candles are, they basically are trend candles. So if it's red, that means that there are more sellers in the market. If they're green, that means that there are more buyers in the market. Now, what we're doing is we're going to profit on the movement. We're not physically buying anything. We do not have to buy anything, okay? So this is where that transition and shift happens, because mentally, we typically think, right, remember that you're going to buy, hold, and pray. I'm going to buy something. I'm going to pray over it that it rises in value. And then one day we'll realize that gain. That's what investing is. We're trading, okay? We're trading, which means we profit on the movement of the market the same way the banks, the financial institutions, the same way all of them do when currency moves, right? And as a matter of fact, that's actually what we did for the military. You know, we kept those books. We had a currency exchange booth office in we called it a cashier cage. We had that in our office while I was stationed in Germany. And we had to account for the profit that was made in that exchange of currency every single day. And so that's ultimately what was seen, okay? That's ultimately what we're doing, is the exact same thing. So now when I look here, right, you see this blue line cross over the red? I'm always going to be coming over here because we're at the foundation. Now your skill set will advance, okay? But I'm right now talking about the basics, the foundation right now. So I'm here at the 20, all right? I'm here at the 20. Is this recorded? Absolutely. Yes, it's being recorded. So I'm here at the 20 or I'm here at the 80. Now around the 80, I have my blue line crossing over the red in a downward momentum. Now remember, this is a momentum indicator, all right? So look at the momentum that's happening in the market. So now when I'm right here around the 80, I need that blue line to be crossing over the red in a downward momentum. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put something right here so you guys can see this, okay? So we can see this. Now we have this where this crossover is beginning to happen, right? But yet, so my leading indicator, that means it happens first. So the stochastic is the guide, it's the leading indicator. However, what happened after that is now we're looking for my 2 lagging indicators. My PSAR, which is the dot, and my candles, my red candle, my Hikinashi candles, these are my lagging indicators. So I'm not looking for this to happen first. I want you to be very clear. This is going to take you from 92% to higher, all right? My stochastic is very important. My stochastic is leading, okay? So now my stochastic, blue line cross over the red in a downward momentum. Now you notice I'm gonna make this a lot bigger for you so you can see, okay? Now you notice I have a red candle with a flat top. So, but I do not have a PSAR. I need a PSAR. I need that dot. So if you don't remember PSAR, just say, where's the dot? So, and it kind of works like this. Think about it. Top, top, top. That's where I need everything for a sell. For a buy, I need bottom, bottom, bottom. Okay. So top, top, top. I need the blue line crossing over the red and the downward momentum at the top. I need a red candle with a flat top at the top. I need to see the flat top is at the top. My dot, my PSAR is at the top. So that's what we call, it's in alignment now. And this is the BYOB cash out strategy. Now we're going to do this in 3 phases. I'm going to do my BYOB cash out. I'm going to do my time frame confluence and my top down analysis approach. So now I want to make sure that this is in alignment with the swing of the market. When you check the time frame confluence, that's what we call the quote unquote swing of the market. Okay. So let's jump up here to the hour. So from my 15-minute chart, I'm going to look at my hour. All right. And so let me bring this in just a little bit. Okay. So now what do we see? I see that my stochastic is beginning to point down, right? I see that. But it's still a little flat line. But you can see, look at what my stochastic is doing right here. You can definitely see, right, where you have that curve, right? I can see where it's starting to get that curve to it. And I also have a red candle, right? I have a red candle. So you guys see that? Yes, no, maybe so? Yes, no. So in the morning trainings, or when we're going through the chart in the morning, you always hear me say, right? You always hear me tell you that one of the things that we need to make sure, if GBP has the most liquidity in the market, all right? GBP has the most liquidity in the market, which allows me to do an exception to the rule, okay? It allows me to do an exception to the rule. Now, that exception to the rule, what it does is when I look at this is giving me indication that I'm moving towards a sell. That's what this is giving me. It's giving me some sort of indication that I'm moving toward a sell. So what I want to be able to do is now drop down to the 30. When I drop down to the 30, if it was not giving me indication that I could sell, I cannot drop down. Okay. So my hour, that means that my hour is almost in alignment. Okay. That means that my hour is almost in alignment. So now when I drop down to my 30, okay, when I drop down to my 30, what I'm seeing is, look at my stochastic. That's a good, strong stochastic, right? Look how when that blue line pulls away from that red, that's good, right? That means the momentum is stronger, because remember, my stochastic is measuring market activity, market momentum on the time frame that I'm on. So this is strong. And then I have a red candle. So that's good. So now what I want to do, we have to check up and we have to check down. So you say, light bulb moment. I love those. So now what I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm still selling. I need to still be selling. Okay. So now you see that my stochastic is downward. You can see that we started selling way back here. So it needs to still be selling. So you notice that we got a little pullback right here. My stochastic is still pushing down, okay? But we have a little pullback right here. And then the market kept going. Now look at what's happening right here, all right? So let's say hypothetically that this is where we saw it, okay? We know we have alignment on the 15 and the hour, even the 30. But I would wait until this flips back into red. Even though my stochastic is downward, you see it's a little flat line, but even though it's downward, right, then we would be able to push down. We would not do it when this is green. We will wait for this to push down. What is the exception allowed because of the strength of GBP? The exception of the rule is for time frame confluence. The easiest way to remember time frame confluence is a factor of 4, 5, and 6, okay? So I'm going to take the time frame that I'm on, and I'm going to multiply by 4, 5, and 6. That is how, from the 15-minute chart, I know I can check the hour, okay? I know that I check the hour. If I'm starting on the 5-minute, then my confluence is the 30. But GBP has the most amount of liquidity. As a matter of fact, I still have this up right here, We were looking at this morning. Now, this is my FX book. Let me ask you guys a question. How many of you all went back and watched the training today? How many of you all went back and marked the training and say, you know what? I'm going to go watch liquidity and volatility in the market. I'm going to go back and watch that training so I can understand how to utilize this, because it helps me know when I can get in the market. When is a good time to get in the market? Who went back and did that? Because somebody should have went back and did that today. All right. And I'm going to show you this really quickly one more time. Okay. Hey, yes. I have some of you all that went back. Now, didn't it help? Didn't that training help? It helps you understand the market, the liquidity, the volatility, what's flowing through the market, right? So right here, all right, when I'm looking at it, so I'm actually just kind of refresh it. All right, so this one, what we're looking at, okay, is I want to first come to the liquidity, right? It made it clear, good. Because what I get a lot of times is, when is a good time to trade? I can't tell you when is a good time to trade. You have to know when is a good time to trade. But the market is open 24 hours, 5 days a week. Some of you all are 777 all night. Some of you all are up at 3 o'clock in the morning, 777. Some of you all trade in the middle of the day. It's all based on your personality. We get those demo accounts, we get in the market, and we figure out when is the best time for us, okay? But this is going to help you because we need liquidity. We need liquidity. We need liquidity in the market. So what happens is I come check my liquidity, all right? I come check my liquidity, and this is the average, and this is what it is currently, okay? Now, this morning when we were on a call, it wasn't even half of what it normally is. And that's when the market wasn't moving, all right? So look at what this says that it does. It provides a rough estimate of trading activity in the market, all right? So this is how much activity is happening in the market. So let me educate you. We want liquidity. We want volatility. So let's look at the volatility, okay? Now, this means that this is the current volatility in a currency pair. So before we look at it, let's drop down here and let's look at it. Why is it important? Remember that we always went to the why. Let's find out the why behind the what, behind the what. So it tells you how drastically a certain currency has moved within a time frame. So now we know that currency is moving, okay? We understand it is moving. Now, to go back to the question why I pulled this up, GBP pairs, British pound, have the most liquidity in the market. Now, the US dollar is the major currency. So when you think about major currency pairs, they are paired with the US dollar, all right? Those are our major currency pairs. So anytime anything happens within the United States, like if we have a bank holiday or just anything, we personally have news going on, anything we're doing, right? Anything that's happening with us, then what that means, what happens is it impacts the entire market, the global Forex market. It impacts the entire market because it's a major currency pair. However, most people like to get up in the morning because GBP, it might not be the major currency, but they actually have the most liquidity. They push a lot of liquidity in the market. So even we don't have calls when they have holidays, because our market doesn't open till a certain time. So if they're on holiday or they have some major impact news, you notice when they have the news that's going on, I'm like, guess what? It's a training morning, right? Because that's going to impact the market as well. So to go back to your question, GBP has so much liquidity that because if I look at these time frames, my 5 minute, right? Let's find a GBP pair. So it's now, trust me, the market's closed right now. The British pound London session, their market is closed. So the liquidity is not going to be there at this moment, okay? At this moment. But when I look at daily, all right, is my, what you call model here? Okay, they got JPY and USD. So when I look at my daily range, like for Euro and my GBP, now they had some news today. But I want you to look at this. So they literally, look, if I'm here at the weekly, look how much don't look at this exotics. I know somebody's eyes wandered up. When I look at what GBP is pushing out into the market, look at how much volatility they have. Look at how much this currency moves. So this is that pip range, 229. So their average daily range can be anywhere from like 100, based on the currency pair, 150 to over 200. That's their average daily range. So GBP, because there's so much liquidity in the market, I really can't give you an example right now, right? But I can drop down the time frame instead of having to go, if I'm on the 15, instead of having to use the hour, but it has to give me an indication that I can, the way we just talked about, the way I just showed you. As long as it's doing that, then I can drop down, because there's typically a lot of liquidity with my GBP pairs. You know, you can come up here and find another one as well. But I just wanted to kind of show you this. Does that help? Does it make sense? This is why I want you guys to go back and watch that training. All right. Now look at gold. Look at the amount of pips. All right. Since we're here. So look at how many pips flow through gold. So do you now see why it's like, no, this is not a 10 pip and cash out thing. This is something you have to understand your support and resistance lines to be able to trade it. So, you know, we start with the foundation, the basics of our Forex pairs, and you begin to evolve as you evolve your skill set into your indices, your stocks, into your cryptos, you know, and also into your metals. So you start with Forex because I can do what we did, right? I can do this. Blue line cross over the red and a downward momentum, right? Blue line cross over the red and a downward momentum. Red candle with a flat top, PSR flip to the top. Makes sense? Questions, comments, testimonies before I move on. Questions, comments, testimonies before I move on. I see a lot of aha. Another aha is clear, right? It's smooth. So any, got it, that's gold. Makes sense. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You guys know I like light bulb moments. I love the light bulb moments. I love the moments where you guys are actually empowered. I love those moments, okay? So now let's go ahead and let's talk about this academy. I wanna, you know, flood, not a light bulb, you have floodlights. I love it, I love it, I love it. All right, so now what I wanna do is let's get into the academy. Oh, hold on, let me mute. Somebody got a hot mic. All right, think I got it. All right, so now what I wanna do is let's kind of dive in here and let's take a look. And so for those of you all who are new to the call, I know I want to make sure that you guys stay plugged in, stay coming on the calls, you know, because I'm just excited. Like I said, we have people that just by being plugged in last week got that demo account going and took trades this week, okay? So stay being plugged in, because I promise you it's going to make the biggest difference in the world, okay? It's really going to make a big difference for you, all right? So now, when I log into the academy, okay, when I log into this is at IM.center, and when you're gonna select strategies. Now you notice that, now we're not gonna get through all of them tonight, okay? We're definitely not gonna get through all of them tonight, so we might just kind of break these down. So when I'm on my Forex pairs, we have what's called swipe trades right here, all right? When I'm on my high frequency Forex, it's not showing right here, but you do have HFX swipes, right? And when I'm on my digital currencies, you have Swipe Coin. So if you have not downloaded those apps, you need to download it. And in order for you to use the apps, you need to have the Elite package. If you don't have the Elite package, sorry, you need the Elite package. So go upgrade your account. I'm telling you, you do not, when you get enrolled, what you don't know is that you don't know the value of what you have access to because you're still learning. And so we want to make sure that you're empowered, because empower people empower people. And what we're not going to do is have you enrolled for something less than that. Okay. We're not going to have you enrolled for something, you know, less than what you ultimately deserve. So I'm telling you right now, you know, because you want to maximize and you want to make sure you're utilizing everything, is you want to make sure that you actually have that, right? You have that Elite package. Now you have that, go ahead and download those apps. I'm gonna walk you through some of the trades right now. We're gonna walk through those, okay? So let's go ahead and see right here. Now, what I want to start with is swipe trades, okay? Now, obviously, you see it's telling you where you get it. Obviously, it's an app for your phone. I'm actually not going to be able to pull it up on here, but at the same time, you know, I'm definitely going to be able to utilize this, right? That's what we're going to do. All right. So now this is what we need to do. So from there, now what I have is, I have not that one. Let's talk about this one. And look, y'all, I'm telling you right now, it is a CHF. But I think, oh, we're gonna come back to Bitcoin and Ethereum. Please tell me you guys cashed out on those. Please, just please tell me you guys cashed out on those. That was a lot of money to be made. I thought I might have closed the wrong one. That's okay. Oh, here it is. BTC 777. Now, guess what? That market is open all weekend, guys. That market is actually open all weekend. So you want to make sure you continue watching Bitcoin and Ethereum, because even, I said I was going to come back to it, right? But I didn't. So even right here, you can see Bitcoin is actually closed. It closed out. Then what I tell you it does, it pulls back real hard. Now, Bitcoin actually came back and it tapped that. We analyzed that this morning. So I just kind of want you guys to continue to watch it. We talked about this trend line from the daily that we were watching all week. We talked about, because of the fundamentals in the market, how it was probably going to continue to buy. And as you can see, Bitcoin and Ethereum, you had an opportunity to continue to buy on those. All right, now let's get back over here. So this is a trade that we actually marked up like GBP NZD. If you think about it, that's one. It's actually the same thing, right? We were waiting on this to kind of turn around this week. This is what we analyzed. And as you can see, the market does not turn around fast, right? The market does not turn around fast, right? It does not do that. So, okay. So let me show you this. So now what happened is there was a swipe. Okay, let me go back to it. Right? A swipe trade that came out, and it called it for a sale. Now, this is why we have to be educated traders, because we're not going to do any blind trades. Now, remember, this is, if for those of you all who have traded price action, right? Price action trading, this is price action with the twist. Now, what do we know about price action? Price action is actually, this is price, and the market is the action. This is price and the market is the action. That's the simplest way to put it. So price action trading is evaluating price when it hits those key points. I went through those key points on the first part of this call because I want to make sure that you understand to come in and evaluate the price. And what we know is that from a fundamental standpoint, the market has the fundamental analysis, your technical analysis, and your sentiment, okay? My fundamental analysis, what moves the market, right? The market is moved by economic drivers. The market moves. Remember, we move with the market. We move when the market moves. So we cannot move the market. The economic drivers move the market. So what happens, you know, like you had a news report that came out today. We just talked about crypto, the fundamental drivers that's making it buy. So we make the adjustment. That is what moves the market. Technical analysis is the blue line cross over the red in an upward momentum, downward momentum, red candle, green candle, flat top, flat bottom, PSR flip, okay? That is what that is. Please don't forget your stop loss. Where is my accountability? You know, because what I asked you guys this morning, accountability, somebody help me. I trade with a stop loss. You have to have a stop loss. See that PSR flip? Your stop loss goes above or below that stop loss. Have to make sure that I tell you that when we're going through the strategy. Now, that's what moves the market. So now we don't ever want to take a trade blind. So when we look at this trade, okay, let's drop this on here, okay? I think I got rid of what I wanted. Let me do this. I'm gonna mark it up. So this actually happened at 10:27. I just went back and got some historical ones, 10:27, 23:28. Bear with me. All right, so somewhere in here, okay? This is when this one happened. So right here where this yellow line is, right? Because here's the price and across the bottom is my date and time, okay? So this is the date and time. You notice that today is the 29th, right? The 29th, and that's the time, right? That's the UTC time. So now this is going to be, we're gonna mark it up. Now remember, they said it, they send it out, someone sends it out, but they cannot tell you, all right? They can't tell you what the fundamental, you have to know. We don't blindly take trades, guys. That's not what we do, all right? Now, I'm gonna tell you that these are not taking profit. I'm gonna tell you that right now. But I'm also gonna tell you I've seen some take profit. So I just want you guys to know that. So I'm gonna put a stop loss right here. So, oh, and it triggered for a sale. So let's come here, let's put the stop loss on there. So that's 91885. Actually, they hit stop loss now. So this, they were looking for a sale. All right. I mean, yeah, they were looking for a sale. So stop loss is here, and let's put a take profit on here. Okay. Let's put a take profit on here. Should have made the stop loss red. 90. I'm gonna do it like your MetaTrader 4. That's what I'm gonna do. So we're gonna make the take profit green because they know what your MetaTrader 4 does. So my stop loss would be red, and this one will be yellow because that's where the entry point was. So it will identify, they, who, you know, wherever it came from said we were selling. So if you look at it, if I'm looking here, knowing the BYOB cash out strategy, at what point did I ever have an ability to take a sale, right? Where was I able to take a sale? My stochastic, let's start here. My stochastic is buying, then it's all over the place. So we know we're in a consolidated state, okay? We know that now it triggered on the hour. So now, even when I got here, what do we talk about? If it's not around the 80, then I need to know where the market is overall. Yeah, it's the UTC time because it should be the UTC time because you gotta remember it's talking to everybody everywhere. So not just in your local area. So now when I look at this, okay, let's just look at this because remember, if we have to do our confluence. So it called for a sale right here. I come up here to my 4 hour. So my yellow line is the entry price that they gave. The red line is my stop loss and the green line is my take profit. So I still need to bring it back to the vibrata, okay? I'm gonna bring it back to the vibrata. And when I bring it back to the vibrata, do you see, what is this? Somebody help me out. What's going on right here? What is this? Somebody, anybody, right? Mastery check, mastery check, mastery check, mastery check. Consolidation, absolutely. It is consolidating. So if consolidation, think about it like this. Think about consolidation like this, okay? Indecisiveness, because that's what it is. It's indecisiveness. Can you have an effective conversation with someone that's indecisive? Let's not compartmentalize this. Can I have an effective conversation with someone that's indecisive? Nope, not at all. So I'm gonna take the cycle level off just for the sake of having a clear chart. So if I cannot have an effective conversation with someone who is indecisive, can I have an effective trade in an indecisive market? You're like, gosh, no, right? Can I have an effective trade with a market that's indecisive, right? So now, so when I'm looking here, I already know that. Now let's look at my leading indicator though. What's my stochastic doing? What is my stochastic doing? You're like, not with all explanation points. What is my stochastic doing? Mastery check. I know we're training, but I'm still giving you a mastery check. Mastery check, mastery check. What is it doing? What's my stochastic doing? Y'all still stuck on the indecisive person. I'm gonna need y'all to come with me. Come with me to my stochastic. Come to the stochastic. The stochastic is buying, right? The stochastic is buying. So if my stochastic is buying, my stochastic is blue line, cross over the red, and an upward momentum. Notice I'm on my Confluence chart. Should I have ever entered the trade for a sale? Would I have ever taken that trade for a sale? Absolutely not. Nope, no ma'am, no sir. So now we know that you should be getting an update in there that says that this trade was not won. All right. So let me find my app and see if they sent it out yet. Did anybody download it while we were on here? It'll be coming out soon because it's still showing active. Now, all right. So just so you guys know, because it's still showing active. So now when you go there, go to the little search bar, right? Go to the little search bar and you can see now they do, a lot of the trades do get won. But the point I'm making is we don't blindly take a trade at all. We do not blindly take a trade. So just for clarity and understanding, because you'll be like, why? I know how you guys think. A price action trader accuracy rate is about 65 to 70% accurate, all right? 65 to 70%. So if people make a living off of 65 to 70% accuracy rate, that means you're looking at the overall big picture of the market. That's what I'm doing. I'm looking at the overall big picture of the market. So I'm looking at my trade account for the month. I'm looking at all of that. But what we know is with BYOB cash out, because it's price action with a twist, it takes that 65, 70% and it takes it up to 92% accuracy rate. Because based on what you just walked me through, right? You just walked me through this and we would not have taken that trade. But in combination with the other tools, if you've been on the calls this week, what you know is that we've been looking for this thing to buy. Okay, we already have it marked up and set up. And so we're looking at this trend, this overall trend to change directions, because what the trend is your friend. And let's put this in a perspective of money. That drop was 420 pips. So if it sold for 420 pips, it's not going to turn around overnight. Okay, the market is going to turn, but it's not just going to flip. All right, and as you can see, it's been getting stopped. Now that's what caused the consolidation. That's the why behind the what, because the market is shifting, it's changing, it's moving, right? That's what it's doing. And so you can see that's why this 4-hour candle is starting to break out of there. All right. Any questions, comments, or testimonies? We're going to do another one. But any questions, comments, or testimonies? All right. So now when I come over here, this is another one. So once again, this one also came on the hour. Now, ironically, this is CHF. You guys know I'm anti-CHF. No, I'm just messing with you right now. So this is where this trade was called, right? This is where this trade was called. So if you have your apps open, you should be able to log in there and see it. You see it tells you the entry point. It tells you the stop loss. It tells you those things, okay? And we're going to talk about a stop loss too, because let's go back real quick, right? When we're looking at this, if we would have been set up for a sale, is this where my stop loss would have been? Would my stop loss have been right here? Let's just drop down a little bit. So had we been set up? No, isn't that on the PSAR? Right? It's on the PSAR. We never put a stop loss on the PSAR. We don't do that. We put it above or below. So the market tells you where, where you should put it, but we never put it on the PSAR. So you're going to this is why we bring it back to the vibrato. Like, this is why you never, ever, 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 ever just leave it over there. All right. So let me see. All right. So notice that this trigger for a buy. Okay. Now let's look at this. Okay. We're going to do the same exact thing. Right. What are we doing? We're effectively utilizing the tools. So my entry. Okay. 919. Do I have apps open? Did we download them? Do we download the apps? You can set it where you get the alerts. Okay. You can set it where you get the alerts. Just don't just enter them. That's my point. Don't bring it back, bring it back, bring it back. Bring it back to the vibrato. All right, 916, my stop loss. Let's make this red. 916. 35. All right, that's where the stop loss will be. And I'm gonna take profits. I'm gonna make this green, make it look like your MetaTrader 4. All right, your take profit is 92485. Okay. As you can see, what do? We hit stop loss. That's just where we are right now. We already knew what kind of market we were in this week. So now, but I want you to look at something. So what's happening right here, right? So remember, it's not about the time frame that I'm on. It's about me understanding how to utilize, right? Because my higher time frame has more authority. It has more weight. That's why I slowed down with you this earlier at the beginning. I was at the beginning of this call. You know, I walk you through that so you can understand, because a lot of these come through on the higher time frames. Our harmonic scanner trades, the harmonic patterns, they come through on my higher time frame, right? So when I'm looking at this, okay, and my blue line crossed over the red and a what? I'm at the 80 and it's crossing around in a downward momentum. So at this point, let's check my time frame Confluence. Let's go up and check my hour. This was a beautiful setup for a sale, right? It's a beautiful setup for a sale. So if I'm looking at this, I can tell you what they were looking at. I can honestly, if I do this, let me help you guys out. They're looking at the fact that it's a lot of rejection right here. All right. So once again, a price action trader is looking at this, and they're looking at the fact that it's a lot of rejection there. It's a lot of rejection there. But this is why we need our BYOB cash out strategy. Okay. That's why we need that. That's why we need our price action with a twist. All right. So now let's make it simple. Keep it simple, right? Blue line cross over the red in a downward momentum. I have a red candle with a flat top, and I have a PSAR flip. All of this is happening right here, right? All of this is happening right here. Okay, so we know that. So would you have pushed the button, and would you have entered it for a buy at this point? Absolutely not. Look at my master traders. Look at my master traders. So now, but what did it help us identify? Even though that trade didn't go in the direction that you were looking for it to go, even though that's not what happened, right? What did it allow you to do? It allows you to identify a trade. It helped you identify a sale, okay? Yes, there you go. You called it a watch list. Absolutely, absolutely. So now we know here, if I do my Confluence on my 4 hour, I definitely have Confluence. This is just beautiful. It's just beautiful. And it's a CHF, and I'm saying it's beautiful. Okay. You know, that's strong. That's strong. That's strong. So let's look at this. Honestly, this is the only time I would trade a CHF. You see that hour and that 4 hours in alignment. So now when I come here, okay, when you look, now at this point, I'm not entering the trade. So what you're doing is waiting for the correction to finish. This goes back to what I was explaining this morning about my time frames. So do you see the hour and the 4 hour are in a nice sale? Do you see that? Right? I know you can't see it on the chart right now, but you see it, right? We see that, right? My hour and my 4 hour are in a sale, correct? I'm trying to make sure you're with me. I want to make sure you're with me. All right, awesome. However, when I get down to my 15, where my 15, where my analysis takes place, because I don't quote unquote enter a trade on my higher time frame, the higher time frame give me direction. So when I get down to my 15, you notice that, look where we are. My 15 is way down here. So notice that had we been looking at this from earlier, we would have had a blue line cross over the red and a downward momentum, a red candle with a flat top, and a PSAR flip to the top. So we would have had a trade from our basics course, like the basics of the basics. This is just taking it to that next level, that advanced step. So now you understand how you trade a correction. How do you trade that? Well, with this right here, I'm not trading this. And I'm definitely not trading a buy right here. All right. Because it's going against my alignment. It's going against my higher time frames. So I'm not trading it if it goes against my higher time frames. We already established that when I'm on my hour, right, we've already established that when we were on that higher time frame, that all of this has been in a nice continuous sell, right? It's been in a nice continuous sell. My 4 hour, been in a nice continuous sell. So because of that, right, that's the direction. At 4 hours, the dad said, look, we're selling. The dad said, look, just when I was trying to explain this, it made me think about this. We used to come from Michigan to Louisiana. I'm from Louisiana. My grandparents moved to Michigan, right? They were in Michigan. So every summer, me and my sister would go to Michigan, and we would come back with my grandparents. We would drive. My grandfather, right, head of the household, okay? My grandfather, head of the household. He would say, look, we're not stopping. This is what we're doing, right? We're driving south. We're leaving here, and we're going to Louisiana, from Michigan to Louisiana. We're going to do the basic amount of stops. He would be like, let's see if we stop. It's going to take our 18, 20-hour trip, whatever it was. It's going to take it to a day and a half. Because, me and my sister always want to stop somewhere. So now when you get on the hour, she got some, she'll have a little something to say. Well, I fed them, but we want some hot food, or we need to use the bathroom, or we needed this, or I want to stop at that store, or that looks nice. Let's hit that, because she liked to shop. She used to be like, oh, so let's go to that outlet, right? Let's do something. That's what this is. But you see the alignment got back in. So no, that's us. That's me and my sister. Are we there yet? That's me and my sister. That's us right here. So as you can see, when you got here and you saw this buy opportunity, that is what all of this is. That is the are we there yet? That is the what is happening. That is what this is. Do we have any authority? No. We're going to get in alignment, right? We have a little bit because we're on the 15, but we don't have any over my grandfather. We didn't have any over my grandmother. So no, we went in the store, went to the bathroom. They said we couldn't buy nothing, and we got back in the car, right? You don't touch nothing, get back in the car. So I'm telling you, don't touch that buy. Don't touch nothing. Don't touch anything, get back in the car. Get back, we're selling. Don't touch that buy. So if it's going against the authority, don't touch it, right? Get back in the car. And when you get in the car, we're taking that sale. And so that means that everything that you're doing here, the alignment is in a sale. And so that's how you know you're going to walk your trades out in profit. So we just took a 65, 70% accuracy tonight to 92 and higher. And when you do the 92 and higher, what happens is now I can effectively compound. I can effectively take that chart that Ms. Anderson showed you, the one that's on our website. You can effectively take that chart, and now you can start compounding your money in. Because we live in a society where we're taught to swipe our cards. We live in a society where we're taught to compound out every day, all the time. Swipe your card, buy this house, buy that car. And that sticker price is not the bottom line price. But somebody signed us up for a program where the only thing we would ever create was linear income. That's insanity if we think that raising a minimum wage or doing something else is ever going to give us the equality and the wealth that we desire. And this is why people have a hard time conceiving the thought process that is possible. So you shift that mindset. That's why we start with the affirmations. That's why we start with the affirming. That's why we start helping you understand that there has to be a change. And when you shift that mindset and understand when you put it out, I can bring it back in. I can compound in. I can bring my money back in. We just took you from a 65% accuracy rate to a 92% and higher, because you are a BYOB master trader. Questions, comments, testimonies, questions. Now we'll do this again next week. We'll analyze it on the calls. We're going to perfect this skill set. We're going to perfect all of these tools. I'm going to pause on adding another one, and we're going to keep going through the ones that we've been doing, and we're going to make sure you got them all. You're going to be able to effectively analyze and utilize all of these tools, because you are going to walk in wealth. We are 2 million strong. We are going to impact. We are having global impact already. So 2 million families financially educated and impacted. This is actually what's going to happen. And it begins with you. Questions, comments, testimonies, so I can transition this call. Questions, comments, testimonies. I see I am committed to being focused on my success, and I am willing to do what's required. 2 million strong. That's what we need to flood Facebook with. That's what we need to flood social media with, and add the BYOB worldwide to it. Make sure we add the BYOB worldwide, BYOB cash out, right? I got an awesome, I got an awesome, I got an awesome, I got an awesome 2 million strong. That's what we are. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So hold on. All right, guys. Well, it's actually time to transition this call, and I get excited, right? Oh, I'm new and you ready. I love it. Welcome to the BYOB family. Welcome to the family. But it's time to transition this call. It's time for me to turn this call over to a gentleman that I have a tremendous amount of respect for. This gentleman has his PhD in finance and economics. We're talking about your RX for Forex because he has the prescription. So let's go ahead and turn this call over to none other. Oh, let me not forget, he got a PhD in finance and economics. He's been a consultant, a CFO, and an educator. Let me tell you guys. So you definitely are in for a treat this evening. So let me turn this call over to none other than Dr. Craig Bythewood. Dr. Bythewood, are you on the line?
Yes, I am, Miss Tasha M. Dyer. Thank you very much for another wonderful training. In fact, you know what? Let me thank you for the entire week, because I really feel like you have been on fire this week. You're always on fire, but it was just a little bit of extra fire in your fire. So I thank you for your firedity. Like Mrs. Reed said earlier today, it's infectious and we caught it. I love borrowing her stuff. So thank you very much, Ms. Dyer, for the tireless way in which you address this community and in your energy of educating us. Now, let me say something a little bit more about that. In order to educate, you must be educated. You have to know what it is that you're speaking about. But the part that I'm really pausing and complimenting about right now is the energy of wanting you to get it. You know, everybody has that teacher that just kind of put their hand on your shoulder a little bit differently. That teacher that looked in your eyes and made you know you can do it. So that really is the part, Ms. Dyer, that we really appreciate in this movement, that you come to every single call with an energy of not only do I know you can get it, but I'm going to help you get there. And that's a beautiful servant heart spirit. And I just wanted to call it out tonight. So thank you, Ms. Dyers, AKA Trade Whisperer, for all that you do. You still mean to your grandbaby though. So with that in mind, I would like everyone to yes, thank you for those comments. Y'all know I had to end it with a joke so I wouldn't cry. You know how we menses are. So this is a talk with the finance doctor for those of you that are new. And a talk with the finance doctor is designed to be a conversation between the BYOBers, the movement, and myself. And it was designed for us to have a forum where we can discuss 3 very important things. Number 1, mindset. What is the proper mindset that we need to have to be a vibrational match to the wealth and abundance that we can get through this skill set? Let me say that again, because I didn't say let's be a vibrational match to the skill set, because the skill set is intellectual. What I said was we want to be a vibrational match to the wealth and abundance that we can get from the skill set. And that is very important to understand, that just because you have it doesn't mean you're going to apply it. And you need to apply it in a way where it will be beneficial to you and your family and future generations and 2 million people. So that's the first thing that we talk about on these calls. Number 2, personal finance. What is personal finance? Personal finance represents those areas of our society where A, you are dealing with anything that addresses money coming in and out of your household. Anything that addresses money coming in and out of your household. And B, the ability to be able to recognize that this conversation twice a week is so important because personal finance is the only area of our society where the individuals who share with you information about the products happen to be the same individuals that are selling them. So us being able to discuss things in an objective manner is very important to what this movement is all about. And number 3, economic empowerment. What is economic empowerment? That is where we take the first 2. We take mindset, we take personal financial topics, and we use them to create a better life, a better state of mind for ourselves, our families, and those around us. Economic empowerment. So, welcome to a talk with the finance doctor, your RX for Forex. And let me begin by, thank you, I appreciate that. Hand up, not a handout. That's right, I appreciate that, Renee. For those of you that may be watching the video, Renee just put in the chat that the picture behind me is perfect because it represents a hand up rather than a handout. So that is correct. Thank you for that, Renee. Okay, so let me begin by asking this question. Does anyone one more thing. If you are a 111er, this call was specifically named a talk with the finance doctor, which means this is a dialogue, not a lecture. So if you have a question, if you have a comment, if you have a testimony, please walk in the power of the unmuted microphone and ask me questions verbally. Because when we hear your voice, we hear the inflection, we hear the sense of urgency or even the sense of wanting to know, it allows us to go a little bit deeper in terms of our connection. Tuesday's call, I think, totally represented that. I came to the call with one agenda, someone asked a question, and we had another agenda, which was much better than anything that I could ever come up with. So trust me, I've been in this game for almost 30 years, so I will always have something to talk about. But when you come with your own agenda, when you come with questions that address your agenda, that puts us in a better position. So with that in mind, are there any questions, comments, or testimonies? Questions, comments, or testimonies? Okay. So
no question, but I did just want to say thank you all for inviting me. I truly appreciate it because I know this is something that I need. So I just want to say thank you, King, and thank you, Queen. I appreciate
excellent.
it. My name is Monica. I don't think it's showing in my picture, but thank you.
Where are you from, Monica? Where do you live?
I'm from the south side of Chicago, but I live down in Springfield, Illinois. And
Got it. Got it. Okay, well, thank you for that. That's very special of you to say. You're always welcome in this community. Any other questions, comments, and testimonies? Okay, so one of the things I'd like to talk about tonight is the importance of us recognizing a couple of human elements that always come into the fold when we're doing something like this. You can imagine that Mr. Rogers, Ms. Dyer, and myself have experienced quite a bit of individuals who are interested in participating in it with us, that are interested in being empowered, that are interested in letting other people know how to be empowered, who are interested in learning this skill set, who are interested in bringing a new wealth and abundance to their families. And we found that many of the individuals that come to the table have a couple of things that are very important. They have intent, they have desire, they have the intelligence, they have the wherewithal, they have the time, they have the commitment. But yet, why is it that sometimes people come to the table with those things, but they don't have success? There are people on this call right now who are watching the 777ers and have not 777. And you're wondering what is wrong. But the first part I'd like to say as we uncover this topic is what you are experiencing, person who's watching the 777s but not 777ing, is that is a natural human element that occurs to everyone. That is one of the reasons why Ms. Dyer is so aggressive about saying push the button. Why would she have to say push the button when we all know in order to win, we have to push the button? Because of this quality, this attribute, this concept that I am discussing. This concept that oftentimes we come to the table with all of the intellectual conscious mind scenarios that we need in order to make this happen, but yet we're looking at our results and they just don't match. There's someone on this call right now who I had a personal conversation with who explained that to me. I don't understand. I get it. I understand the way the strategy works, but yet I'm having results that don't match the outcome, that don't match what we're supposed to be doing. And so what you need to understand is that's okay. It's okay because there are oftentimes deep-rooted psychological things going on underneath the surface that you may not be aware of. So I want everybody right now to take out your cell phone and just Google iceberg and then click images. And the reason why I want you to Google iceberg and click on images is because I want you to be reminded. I know you know what it looks like, but just do it for me anyway. So when you look at this iceberg, you'll see something very interesting. First of all, the iceberg is much bigger than it appears. And when you're in a ship, and some of those iceberg pictures have a little ship next to it, so you see just how massive the iceberg is compared to the ship. But the second and more important thing is this. Look at how much of the iceberg is under the water. Look at how much of the iceberg is under the surface. So I've always used this image as an analogy for our conscious minds, what we think about, versus our subconscious mind, what's underneath the surface. So yes, we're big and we're doing big things and they're big parts of our life and our personality and our experiences that are who we are. But there's a whole lot of stuff. There's a whole lot of berg. There's a whole lot of iciness going on below the surface that you do not see. And that is true of everyone. And it's interesting to me that sometimes when I'm coaching someone, either personal or professionally, or even having a conversation with someone about this topic, they'll immediately start getting defensive and tell me why that's not the case with them. But think about it. This is the irony of it. If there's something going on below the surface, you're not going to be able to analyze it on top of the water. Let me say it again. If there's something going on beneath the surface, you're not going to be able to analyze it on top of the water. What I'm really saying is this. If you've got something going on subconsciously, what does sub mean? Sub means under. It's under. Submarine, you don't see it, it's under the water. So if there's something happening below the surface, subliminal, you don't hear it. It's there, but you don't hear it. If there's something going on below the surface in your subconscious, how can you analyze it with your conscious mind? How can you say, oh, well, that's not occurring with me, or that's not the case? It's impossible because the subconscious represents everything that's ever been exposed to you your entire life. So think about it like this. You're a baby and there are things going on around you. And whatever happens as a baby, you don't have the ability to filter what's being said or what's being done or what music is being played. That's one of the reasons why sometimes parents are very aggressive about what they expose their children to. And I shouldn't say this, but I don't care because I want us to grow from this. Each one of my children, each one of my 3 daughters have very different personalities. The way they process information, the way they process emotions, very different. And I can pinpoint things that happen during their pregnancy that match the way in which they process information. So from the very start, from an embryonic stage, I just want to say embryonic, from an embryonic stage, the things that are coming into you are filtering into your subconscious and they're there. There's nothing you can do to take them away. That's not what I meant to say. There's nothing you could do about the fact that they entered into your subconscious. And so literally, we're carrying all of this baggage, all of this stuff, all this information that's been put into our perspective that we were unaware of. I may have said the cherry blossom study to you guys before, but I'm going to say it again because it's really relevant right now. Cherry blossom study was done by Stanford researchers. You know, they have a huge worldwide reputation. And what they did in the cherry blossom study was they analyzed mice. And what they did with the mice is they shocked them. They would feed them cherry blossoms, and every time they ate a cherry blossom, they would shock them. So of course, the mice began to identify the shock, the electrical shock, the pain with the cherry blossom. So then they analyzed the children of the mice who did not get shocked. Then they analyzed the grandchildren of the mice, the grand mice who never got shocked. And all they did to the grand mice was introduce the smell of cherry blossoms to them. And guess what? They began to have body palpitations as if they were being shocked. So what does that mean for you and I? That means what I'm saying right now is truth. Because there's some crap that went down 2 generations ago and you weren't even there, but it's still in your system. You still carrying it. There's stuff going on. If you really think about it, there's some patterns that you experience and they don't even make sense. You're like, dang, why did that happen? So I'm keeping it positive, and I promise I'm going to bring this all to a point at the end. But how about this statistic? In the United States of America, most welfare recipients right now, most welfare recipients are 4th generation welfare recipients. 4th generation welfare recipients. So there's nothing inherently wrong with their brain or inherently wrong with what's going on, but that's the culture that they've been in. That's the energy they've been around. That's why we make such a big deal about the affirmations. That's why we make such a big deal about, rather than copying and pasting it, typing it out so you can feel your fingers on the keyboard and you can reinforce the fact that you are who you say you are. Because 4th generation, that's a huge statistic, y'all. That's a huge statistic. Now hear me. Judgment shall be mine, saith the Lord. I ain't judging nobody. I get it. My mother was the first person in our family to go to college. I was the first person in my family to get a PhD. So I get it. Ain't nobody trying to say that we are silver spooning. What I'm saying is that there's some things that could have happened in our past and they've created belief systems that we're not even aware of. So what I'm really doing is I'm trying to let some of you off the hook. Because some of you are blaming yourself. Some of you are attacking yourself. Some of you are saying, what's wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you. What you're doing is you're going through a normal human experience. And this is why almost every call, I say the same thing. Almost every call I say, you have to be a vibrational match to the wealth and abundance. Okay, that's clear. I want wealth and abundance. I mean, for real, who would say I don't want wealth and abundance? Nobody would say that. But sometimes, based on our experiences, based on the cherry blossoms in our life, based on the way we view the world, we've got some beliefs that are a mismatch to the wealth and abundance. Let me give you an example. Have you ever thought about the fact that anytime you watch a TV show or watch a movie, the rich person is always classified as evil and negative and manipulative? Any show where there's one rich person in the town, he's evil. He's taking advantage of the townspeople. How often do you see movies and televisions where the rich person is nice and kind and has a servant heart? You don't see that. So then you begin to iceberg. So you begin to develop this belief that rich people are, can I say this on the Zoom call, are not cool. So since you believe that, you see how I remixed it for myself right away? So if rich people are not cool, then nobody wants to be not cool. So what you will do is you will subconsciously, nuh-uh, Dr. B, I don't do that. That was your conscious mind. Subconsciously, you could be pushing yourself away from it because you're carrying some beliefs about rich people. And now be honest with yourself now. All y'all are muted, so nobody can hear your reaction but you. How many times do you talk about rich people and say they? Come on, y'all. We're going to keep it real on a Thursday night. Them rich people. Are we going to keep it real? The last talk with the finance doctor in October? Are we going to keep it real? Some of you refer to rich people as they. So if you refer to rich people as they, then subconsciously, that means you're not a match to be rich because you're putting them over there. Maybe you should take the ways in which you say that and change it to us rich people, because there are people, again, we've talked about this for almost 3 years. It could be 3 years. I haven't done the math. And I think I'm right. I think it's about to be 3 years. And again, there are people on this call that are experiencing the same thing. There are people who understand the BYOB cash out strategy. They know exactly what to do. And they enter the trade exactly according to the way it's taught. And then the trade just goes left. The trade just goes negative. And so that's a good one. That's a good one. Somebody just put in the chat, and even though you're supposed to be talking to me, somebody put in the chat, money is the root of all evil. That is another belief that people have. And that's not even the correct scripture, because it doesn't say money is the root of all evil. It says the love of money is the root of all evil, which means if you're loving money, instead of all the beautiful things you can do with money, I love my family, so I want money so I can have it. I love fishing, so I want money so I can buy a boat. I love my wife. I don't have a wife, but I'm just using this as an analogy. I love my wife, so I want to have money so I can buy nice things for her. Those are things that are not the love of money, but the love of the things you can do. But some of us have this belief that has been stated to us over and over and over. There've been, I shouldn't go there, but I'm gonna do it anyway. There are some preachers who preach a non-prosperity message, which makes us think that there's something wrong with having wealth. So if you've been told over and over and over, money don't grow on trees, you've got some inner beliefs that are going on. So here's my point. Here's the real point of why I'm saying all of this. I want us to be real about a human concept that is called self-sabotage. Self-sabotage. I've spoken about this particular analogy many times, but it is very appropriate right now. I live in Tampa, Florida. We have crab, we have families everywhere, we have waterways everywhere. So I know people who get a bucket and they go crabbing. And I've heard from them that professional crabbers do it the same way they do. They use a bucket. And when they go crabbing, they do not put a top on the bucket. Why would they not put a top on the bucket? Because they know the nature of crabs, which is if one crab begins to crawl out of the bucket, the other ones will do the opposite of that picture, and they will grab the crab and bring it back in. The reason why I'm bringing this analogy right now is because sometimes we got to be real about the fact that we crab bucket ourselves. We crab in the bucket ourselves. We're about to reach a level of success. We're about to reach a level of getting it. We're about to reach a level of increasing to a new level of wealth. We're about to reach a new paradigm. We reach up, grab ourselves, and bring us back down. Self-sabotage is real. And one of the reasons why some people continue to suffer from self-sabotage is because most people are not truthful enough to admit that that's what's going on. Nor are they aware, because again, it's below the surface. It's below the iceberg. You don't see it. So self-sabotage occurs, watch this, self-sabotage occurs when you subconsciously keep yourself from getting to a particular level because your body, your mind, your experience is not used to being at that level. Did you hear what I said? I didn't say you don't want to be at the level. I didn't say you think the level is wrong. I said you're not used to this. Y'all ever heard this statement before? The devil I know is better than the devil I don't know. Watch this. Let's go all the way there. Let's just get deep with the next 4 minutes that I have. And then I'll have my seat. What I sound like? So we were cavemen. We were Neanderthals. We had to go through that to get here. So regardless of what you believe, it does not change the fact that we're more developed now than we were then. We're more developed now than we were in the 60s. So nobody should have a problem. We broke the 4-minute mile. I watched little boys in high school doing stuff I wasn't able to do, and I was a great athlete. Maybe not as great as Gerald D. Rogers, but I was balling, and they do stuff, and they spin around like, dang, I couldn't do that. So we develop. We constantly develop. So I'm saying all that to say this. When we were Neanderthals, when we were cavemen, we had to be safe. And we always would walk the same path. Because if you walk outside of your path, you might run into a woolly mammoth. You might run into a saber-toothed tiger. So in order to survive in a wild world where we humans were part of the animal system, we had to operate with a brain that kept us safe. Now watch this. We've developed, we're better, we do things, that we have cell phones now, but we still have the same brain. So the brain is conditioned to keep you safe. So the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. You don't know how to be rich and wealthy. I'm only talking to the people it applies to. You don't know how to have thousands and thousands of dollars that you make each day. I really love when Miss Dyer says $100 days, but you know y'all are capable of having $1,000 days. Y'all can think about it. The skill set doesn't change. So the skill set it takes to do $1,000 a day today is the same skill set you'll need to do $10,000 a day in the future. So what I'm saying to you is this: when your brain sees that you are about to accomplish something that's different, you're about to go to a place you've never been before. You're about to go to a place your family has never been before. It wants to keep you safe. So it self-sabotages you. It's not anything negative. It's something biological. It's something psychological. It's something spiritual. So there are people on this call right now that are hearing me and thinking, dang, that's why I always get sick right before the big interview. Dang, that's why I always get a sore throat right before I'm about to have a speech that is going to allow this and that to happen. Come on, y'all. Y'all know that it's true. And you know you've experienced it. So hopefully some of you are going to unmute your mic and be like, yeah, that's true. Let me tell you my experience. So for those of you that are watching what we're doing, watching the 777s, but you just don't understand why you're having a different experience. It's just because your brain loves you and it wants to keep you safe. It wants you to keep the same path because a different path used to be associated with danger. So now that I've left you off the hook, now that you realize you ain't got to be mad at yourself anymore, now it's time to address it. So what do we do, Doc? What do we do? The only way you can change a belief is to replace it with a new belief. So let me borrow this from one of the conversations I've had. And the person I'm doing this to, please help me, allow me to do this, because all it's going to do is bless somebody. So I had a conversation with someone who said this to me. They said, look, I get it. I understand the BYOB cash out strategy. I said, well, explain it to me. Explain it perfectly. But then they said, but I'm having losing trades. Then as we began to talk, that person kept saying negative things about themselves. Well, I'm not this. I'm not that. I ain't never been this. I ain't never been that. So that is one of those subtle forms of self-sabotage that you don't even notice. So what do? I replace the belief that something's wrong with me with the belief of I am that I am. I am 777. I am the signal. I am a master trader. So you just got to go deeper. You got to take your eyes off of the losing trade and put your eyes on who you are. You affirm who you are. Now, I know I've gone a little bit extra, but I know somebody has something to say. So let me end it by saying this. It's okay that you're experiencing self-sabotage. Now, what you gonna do? You gonna stay on the safe path? You gonna be a caveman? Remember those Geico commercials? It's so easy a caveman can do it. Caveman stay safe, but we are something bigger. We're something better. And so we gotta replace those old beliefs with I am that I am. This has been a talk with the finance doctor. Questions, comments, testimonies. I know someone has something to say, so I'm going to wait. Questions, comments, testimonies. I'm going to give you 45 more seconds. The world needs to hear what you have to say. Questions, comments, testimonies.
I'm going to say something. Good evening. Thank you so much. That was so powerful.
Introduce
As
yourself and
always.
tell us where you're from, please.
I am Shelley from Greenville, South Carolina, by way of Jacksonville, Florida.
Got it. Talk to us, Shelley.
I just want to say right quick, oh, wow, that was so inspiring. I'm trying to get to work, trying to get dressed to go to work, but I just have to say that this evening, the call on Tuesday night was awesome. Tonight was awesome. And what you just said, wow, that was like a psychology class everyone needs to hear. But I just want to say that I have been pursued by the visionary for many, many years from the very start. And I just wasn't ready at the time. And I kept making excuses. And in the past week or two, things changed. I had that paradigm shift. My mindset changed due to a sequence of things that have happened. And things changed. So now I'm ready. Now I'm open to listen. So he says, well, just get on the calls. Just get on the call and just listen. And when I tell you, this has been such a blessing, all of the 5 o'clock, the 9 o'clock a.m., the 9 p.m., the radio show, everything has been a blessing to me. And I am wide open and already sharing when I have not even enrolled into the academy yet. November the 1st is my date that I have set. And I just want to say it is becoming more and more confirmed to me that this is an opportunity and this is a group. I'm talking about Ms. Dyer, Ms. Anderson, yourself, Mr. Rogers, and the others that are involved. I think Ms. Reed. This is an opportunity hidden in plain sight. I just want to thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to getting involved. This is Shelley from Greenville, South Carolina, by way of Jacksonville.
Shelley, thank you so much for your testimony. And we look forward that the angels are going to celebrate on November 1st as you take the first step toward changing your life. Thank you for making that decision. Any other questions, comments, or testimonies?
I just like to say that the word of God says where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Who the Son makes free is free indeed. And certainly God is using you mightily to make us free, not set us free, because if we get set free, we can always be caught again. But we've been made free. And we thank you so much for the liberty that you have and that you're giving us. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Mrs. Reed. I appreciate you. Last chance. Questions, comments, testimonies.
Hello, doctor. This is Coach Tony Freeney here. And I just wanted to piggyback on both of the ladies and say thank you so kindly for you taking the time out with us and helping us because I don't know what the comment was. Maybe maybe the comment wasn't directed towards you, but like you said, all things that need to be heard are not pleasing to our ears sometimes, especially if we're not in a space to hear it. And so, what you said, I mean, I remember when I was young and I would get ready, excited for things that I knew self-consciously I wasn't supposed to be involved in. So always I would get sick that night and I couldn't participate. And I would say it was just the angels watching over me. But what you just said just made so much sense. You know what I'm saying? And it touched me a lot. So, what she said is true, it's powerful. And, Dr. Dyer's now the trade whisperer. She's been taking some very, very quality time out with me, and I appreciate her. I appreciate this whole movement. It took me a minute to understand really what it meant. I thought it was just about, having me to promote and to, get people. But at the end of the day, you can't recruit people. You know, you have to save lives. If you're not saving lives, you know, that's just how the universe works. You have to give to receive. And at the end of the day, we need help out here, like real help. So we just thank you for that, you know. And I'm happy I am enrolled. I am, you know, I'm pushing the button. I'm not where I want to be, but I know I'm getting there, and I'm committed to doing that. So it's gonna happen. And when I do, you know, I'm just excited to get to the other side. But my journey getting there, I'm planning to take a lot of people with me. So I just want to say that.
Love it, Coach Tony Freeney. I certainly appreciate your testimony. Anybody else? Okay, we had a great week. Let's close this call and this week in prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the opportunity for us to continue to grow and expand. Thank you for the concepts that were discussed tonight. And please allow everyone to integrate it into their spirit and apply it to their lives. We are thankful, we are appreciative, and we are grateful. Amen. Everybody have a wonderful weekend, and this will officially end this call.